to another episode of Crazy Delicious Cooking. Tonight we're making a quick and easy appetizer. It's one of my favorite appetizers to make. It is a spinach and artichoke dip. Now, I got this recipe a long time ago from my mom. I have no idea where she got it from, but it's been passed down and it was written on another piece of paper. I took that piece of paper all the way to China. I made it in China for all of our friends there. Big hit. Yep. We served it at home when we had a party. We served it at friends' parties. Okay, so I had to rewrite the recipe because the paper was getting a little bit messed up. But I still love the fact that I have this recipe on a piece of paper. So this is the recipe, and it's quick, it's easy, it's delicious. You can serve it with bread, you can serve it with tortilla chips. So I think we are ready to get started.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my assistant preheat the oven to 350.
Ooh.
Tough job, tough job.
There you go, that was easy.
Thank you. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna double this. The recipe that I am showing on the paper and then I'll put in the description below is just for a single serving of this. But I kind of bought double the ingredients. I'm gonna use them all up and we'll have a lot. We'll have some for tonight and we'll have some for tomorrow. So our oven is preheating. And then meanwhile, I also have a big pot of water back here and I'm gonna cook my spinach. Now you can buy frozen spinach for this, but I just find that the fresh is just so much better. Absolutely. You just boil it for a couple minutes and then squeeze the water out and you're good. So as we know, spinach boils down to nothing. That's kind of why I'm doubling it, just because it's not going to be that much if I don't. And if you're serving it at a party, you want to make a big tray because it's going to go. So I would recommend doubling the recipe. So I'm just going to wait till my water starts boiling and then pour all of this spinach right in there and boil it for just a couple minutes. So while I'm waiting for my water to boil, I'm going to go ahead and get my artichokes ready. So I bought 2 cans of these quartered artichoke hearts. We need to take the juice out of these and cut them a little bit smaller. So I will need a strainer, please, for that. All right, so just drain the juice out of these. And then they are really big pieces, so you want to cut them smaller. Use my trusty knife that I always use. Perfect. And then you're going to need a big bowl for this too, because you're going to mix all these ingredients together.
Wood or?
You know which one I like. Alright, so I'm just going to take like the quarters, and then I'm just going to cut them like smaller, you know, kind of like this. Just kind of separate them a little bit. If you can't cut them all the way, just make sure they're kind of separated. And they'll separate too as you're mixing it. So I'm going to do this. It's going to take me a little bit of time. Alright, so my water is starting to boil. I'm just going to throw my spinach in here. Just kind of make sure it gets submerged. That looks like a lot of spinach, but it's not. Alright, I'm also going to put a little bit of salt in my spinach just to give it some flavor. Not too much. Just stir that around, and like I said, it's not going to take too long for the spinach to cook. And if it's not totally cooked, it doesn't matter too much because it's going to cook, you know, in the oven too as it's baking. So I'm going to get the rest of my ingredients in the bowl while my spinach is still cooking. So I'm going to double this recipe, so I'm going to need a full cup of sour cream, which should probably be this much. Just put that right in there. Like I said, this all gets mixed together, so it's really, really easy. Alright, so I've got my full cup of sour cream here. I'm just going to put that right in. Tap our bowl a little bit so our neighbors know that we're up here. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my cream cheese. I'm going to do 2/3 cup of cream cheese. Alright, there is 1/3. I'm going to do the other third. Alright, and here's my second third cup. That was a good one. All right, thank you, assistant. All right, the next thing that goes in is our Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna do 2/4 cups of Parmesan cheese. 1, 2. All right, and then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 2 cups of mozzarella cheese. It's a lot of cheese, but that's what makes it good. So, go ahead and just kind of measure this out generously. That's 1. And that's 2. All right, and I'm also gonna put a little bit of garlic. I usually don't measure out the garlic. I just kind of shake it in. You can use the fresh garlic. The fresh garlic is probably stronger. But like I said, I just use this powdered garlic. And like I said, just shake a little bit in. So I've got everything in my bowl except my spinach. It's almost done. I'm gonna go ahead and drain it and then let it cool for a couple of minutes, and then we will add it in and be ready to pop this into the oven. All right, now the key here is that if you're cooking your own spinach fresh, you need to squeeze it out. Don't leave all the water or your mixture is gonna get too watery. So you're gonna take your strainer and take some tongs, or you can use a spoon, whatever you want to do, and just kind of press it against until you get all that liquid out of there. And you want to let this cool first too before you kind of stick it in there, otherwise your sour cream and your cream cheese is going to just melt too much. So just keep straining all this liquid out until it looks pretty dry. Alright, so I've drained all the water out of my spinach. It's going to kind of look like this. And the next thing that I usually do, this is just a little trick, so you can get kind of smaller pieces of spinach so it's not like they're all hanging together when you're trying to scoop it out with chips, is I usually take some kitchen scissors and I just go ahead and kind of cut my spinach just so it's not in those huge kind of pieces. And you know, when you're draining the water out, you also do that with your spoon or your tongs too, but I'm just going to go through with these and cut up the pieces. Should make my assistant do this.
Well, right here.
Anything. God.
I'm right here, I'm just watching so far.
We're going to do Lindsay makes it, and then Louis makes the same exact recipe and sees if he can follow it.
Stressful. I'm not good at following recipes.
Oh my God.
I'm not.
What the hell are you doing on Crazy Delicious Cooking then?
I'm the assistant. That's all I am.
Alright, I just cut it up. I'm going to let it cool just for a couple more minutes here. Like I said, I don't want to put it in with the creamy stuff too early or it's going to melt everything. So just wait a couple minutes on that. Alright, our spinach is cool. We're ready to put it all together. I'm just going to stick my spinach right in this big bowl here. So we're going to go ahead and just mix this all together. So with this cream cheese, it's going to be a little bit difficult to mix, and you just want to break that up to get it all kind of combined there. It's going to take a little bit of work, but just go ahead and make sure it's really, really mixed together. Oh, my arm hurts. Can you do it? I'm going to walk out of the frame so you have your moment. Say what you're doing.
I'm mixing.
Talk to the people.
Hello. Well, the boss left me here on my own mixing this because apparently she got tired, but that's okay. I can help, I guess. Something to do. Here I am, mixing. Joy of my life.
Everything is combined here, and the next thing we need to do is we need to get a big glass dish, and we're going to go ahead and grease that and just spray it with some Pam. Don't skip this step. Make sure you spray it really well. Louis hates Pam. That's a whole nother story. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and then pour it right in my glass dish. If I could have my assistant hold the bowl, because it's really heavy. Thank you. Thank you, darling. All right, so just go ahead and spread it out evenly in your dish. And then you can go ahead and put a little bit more mozzarella cheese on the top. That's what I like to do. We already put a lot in, so don't go overboard on the top, but it's just to get it a little bit, it'll just brown real nice on the top then. Okay, so we've got our big dish of spinach and artichoke dip. Now remember, I doubled this recipe. If you want more than this to take to a party, you might have to triple it. Because to be honest, Lewis and I can eat this whole thing ourselves. So if you're going to a party and you have a lot of people to feed, definitely
maybe even
triple, quadruple, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna stick this in the oven and we're gonna stick it in for about 20 minutes or till it's kind of nice and bubbly. All right, going in. All right, let's have a check on this. Again, it should be nice and bubbly, so I'm just gonna take a peek. We might need an extra 5 minutes. Let's see how it looks. Okay. Kiss them Lewis. Okay. I think it should go about 5 more minutes. It's starting to bubble. So yeah, depending on your oven, 20, 25 minutes. So let's just set it for another 5 and let that get really nice and hot. Now for this, if you don't want to bake it right away, you can just mix everything together, put it in your dish, and then stick it in the refrigerator until you get to the party or until the party's ready to start. So it's a really good appetizer if you want to like make it ahead and then bake later. That's what I like about it too. All right, woo! So we just put it back in for another 5 minutes. It should be nice and bubbly and we're ready to take it out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the oven. It is nice and bubbly and it is looking delicious. Okay, I'm just turn my oven off. I'm gonna get my little hot plate here and bring it over. We are gonna serve this with chips tonight. You can serve it with bread if you would like. So let's get a bowl of chips ready. Perfect. So tonight we changed things up a little bit and we made an appetizer. You can eat this as a meal or an appetizer. And of course, if you're taking it to a party, you might want to have people dip it out with a spoon. But here, since it's just us, and even when we have a party, we just let everybody dig in, double dip, whatever. So let's go ahead and dig right in, Lewis. This looks cheesy.
Ooh.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Also, another thing with this is that once you start, it is so difficult to stop. Like, I just want to keep going here. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and enjoy this spinach and artichoke dip that we made tonight. We will post the recipe below and we'll see you next time on another episode of Crazy Delicious Cooking. Bye.
Bye.